Hello, everyone. Wanted to go over the project that we're going to be launching today and tomorrow. So if you're not going to be in class to go over this, this is your opportunity to have to hear what's going on about that. All right, so this is the final project, the last one that we're going to do for the school year. We're going to be looking at human reproduction. Now, there's a whole ton of stuff that we're going to be talking about with this. It's not just the parts, right? Male reproductive organs, female reproductive organs. We're also talking about the different processes, how sperm is made, how eggs are made, menstruation, ovulation, stuff like that. We're also looking at basically the process of fertilization, then what happens after fertilization when you have a single-celled zygote all the way up to a baby that's born. So the birth is another process that we've kind of talked about a little bit. But then once the baby is born, development continues. And so your development continues all the way into end of life, basically. Where also there's some genetics in there as well. And so normally with this amount of information, we spend a month, 6 weeks, even more talking about all of this stuff. We don't have that kind of time, unfortunately, just because of how this year went. And even if this was a perfect year, we probably still wouldn't have enough time to talk about all this stuff. So basically what you're going to do, you've got a list of topics / products that you can create that have something to do with what we're talking about in here. You and your group are going to pick one, and that is going to be your project. By presentation day, when we get done, theoretically, you should have everything taken care of. Along with your notes, you should have hopefully a pretty good idea of what's going on here. So some of the options that you can do is some sort of ethics research. You can do fertility treatments, disease research, cloning, artificial wombs, in vitro fertilization, any of that other stuff. That would be probably within fertility treatments. You could create something that outlines the process of the reproductive system. I've listed most of them here that you can include. You would pick one process. Some of them, like ovulation and menstruation, oogenesis, you can put together. They would work very well together. Some of the other ones, like fertilization, embryonic development, and birth, you can put all together into sort of a general development thing. You can do a documentary style video. Now I do have a number of options. There's one linked here directly. BBC did one called The Great Sperm Race that does a really good job talking about the sexual intercourse as a process, primarily from the perspective of the sperm into fertilization and stuff like that. There's other resources that you can use as far as thematic things. So if you decide especially to do the documentary style video, I'll point you in the direction of some of those that you can do. You can do a comic or a children's book. You can do some sort of educational song in the vein of Schoolhouse Rock. You could do an interpretive dance, something else. That's just a few examples. Other options can be decided upon based on discussions that your group and I have. You can create a case study surrounding some sort of disorder, a developmental disorder, a genetic disorder, sexually transmitted disease, something like that. And then basically we have to try to figure out what's going on. Kind of think along the lines of the integumentary system diseases we did at the beginning of the school year. You could complete the Flower Child project and then report on your experience. Now, if you're interested in doing it, we'll have to sit down and I will take you through the materials that you would need and how you would record and stuff like that. You would research and present the development of at least one of the organ systems that we've discussed this year. So embryonically, how does basically chart out day by day, week by week, month by month, how the circulatory system develops, integumentary, digestive, whatever. You can pick an easily identifiable trait like hitchhiker's thumb, widow's peak, eyebrow shapes, stuff like that, that follows dominant, recessive pattern. So hitchhiker's thumb is one of those. It's either dominant, this is dominant, this is recessive. Eye color to a certain extent can be that way also. And create a pedigree of at least three generations of your family with that particular trait. And then report back on that. This list, would like to say, is not all inclusive. There are different options, different topics, different product vehicles, and things like that that you can choose. Once we have a discussion, we make sure we're on the same page. Length and format requirements are going to be different based on what you pick, but a good range to consider is 5 to 6 minutes. Now, some of those, like the songs, for example, may be a little bit different because of Schoolhouse Rock is not typically 5 to 6 minutes. I don't know, maybe 3 to 4. Presentations may be live or recorded and will be evaluated largely on overall quality of content and media. The length requirement is more of a ballpark just to make sure we can get everybody done. There is definitely a correlation between length and quality. The shorter it is, the more difficult it is to make it high quality. Typically, the longer it is, the more quality it's going to be. However, you can fill up 6 minutes of absolute garbage. So just keep that in mind. I will say, though, some of these things I am giving you some creative freedom. Humor can be involved in some of these. However, I will not tolerate inappropriate humor. And if it seems like that is coming out, I will shut that down as quickly as possible. If it makes it through your presentation, know that you will end up with a 0 if you have a humor that I deem inappropriate. So if you're going to put humor into your presentation, you need to make sure that you are clearing it with me first before it goes through. A lot of people consider this a very sensitive topic. Most people consider this a very sensitive topic, even though we are trying to take this from a more clinical, educational perspective. It is easy to offend people this way, and I will not tolerate that. So just keep that in mind as you're going through and doing that, okay? I don't want to shut humor down and a little bit of levity. I think that's okay. We just want to be really careful about that. Individually, there's not really any difference. Final reflection, peer evaluation, that needs to be due the day that your project is due because the next week is final exams. Because of the short timeline, you have like maybe 2 weeks to work on this. There aren't really any official benchmarks. I'm going to be following in with y'all based on conversations and team meeting protocols. Final submission for your project, first and second period, is Tuesday the 11th. And Wednesday the 12th. So we can do presentations Wednesday and Thursday. Then after that, it's final exam review and finals, and then we're done. So things are wrapping up super duper fast. If you want to keep an eye out on what it is that you're looking for based on the particular processes or things that you're creating, I would like to say the documentary style video, some of these other ones you can do basically overviews of different structures, like an anatomical overview, that sort of thing as well. I didn't list it up here as far as the processes were concerned. But these are all the things that we need to know by the time we get done. So those are always going to live there available for you. You should have signed up for your groups. Those are posted in the agenda and in Project Teams and Echo. So make sure you get that locked down pretty quick. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to have particular conversations about the stuff, we need to have those sooner rather than later, so you make sure that you've got enough time to get some stuff done. I guess that's it. Send me an email, send me a remind message, drop a comment, ask me in class if you have questions, comments, concerns. Otherwise, look forward to seeing y'all again soon.